Hey everyone, welcome to a very special NBA season preview edition of DeBord Room. What's up everybody? Happy Tuesday. It's almost Christmas. I'm joined by two of my buddies from over at the Blitz or the Buzz. I see Drew and I think the Blitz because we just did that the other day. My dude, Daniel Bakley, he's on Stand Your Ground, Cage My IQ, Mainline. You got Drew Trammell from Game Winning Drive and my co-host on Blitz every Sunday. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited.
Dude, it just happened to work out that the NBA season starts in about an hour and a half, give or take. So what a better time to do an NBA preview show, especially since I think 45 players signed max extensions yesterday. My phone did not stop going off for about an hour and a half. So before we get into that, thank our buddies over at manscaped.com. It's getting closer to Christmas, but some people don't buy Christmas gifts on time like I have done in the past. If you don't, you can use promo code DBR2020. It's going to be on the bottom of the screen the whole episode. 20% off, free shipping. It's good stuff. It's why my face looks somewhat presentable tonight because it was looking kind of rough there for a while. Pick one up. It's a great product. And check out our commercial from our buddies over at Manscaped. All right. Like I said, manscaped.com, promo code, and the website is on the banner all episode long. So let's jump into it, dude. There's a lot to get to. We have about an hour. What's the first game? Golden State and Brooklyn?
Nets, yep.
Yes.
It's a hell of a way to start. So Kevin Durant against his old team. It's like the NBA knows what they're doing here. Drew, Rudy Gobert. Let's start off with like the two biggest things kind of going right now. He got 5 years, $205 million. I'm going to ask you if he's worth the money because he is a center in what is a dying center league. It seems to be everybody's a stretch four and can shoot the three. Is Gobert worth that kind of money?
Yes and no. He's an enforcer on the paint. I don't know. I forget how many Defense of the Year's awards he's won, but he's obviously a main point on this Jazz team. Him and Donovan Mitchell have a great chemistry going on, even after the speculation of the issues he had last year with his immaturity of touching the mics and all that stuff after COVID started to hit. It seems like, he's the centerpiece of this team, and it seems it's a brilliant sign. I mean, this is what the market value is. It is a dying position, but he's probably the best at that position in the NBA. So, I mean, he's a great player. He can give you about 10 to 15. Great rebounder and a great defensive marksman. I like literally defensive marksman. He will line up with any big guy and go toe to toe with him on the court. So I don't have any issues at all with them paying that money that they need to pay.
Bakley, what do you think?
For me, I feel like that the market has gotten so inflated that guys are getting overpaid, and you kind of have to. I think he's worth paying. I just don't think he's $40 million a year worthy. Like you said, he's brilliant on the defensive side. He gets you blocks. He defends the paint. He's hard to shoot against in the paint. But at the same time, how many times does he get over 20 points a game? Maybe 10 times the whole season because they have a guy like Donovan Mitchell where he's the main scorer where he puts up all the shots. I feel like Mitchell should be getting paid more than Gobert does. I think he's a great number two piece, but I think he's worth maybe in the $125 to $150 million range. That way you pay more to your main guy, but it's a position where you got to get somebody there, and he's one of the top 3 at that position. So they kind of had to overpay to keep him.
Well, yeah, and Utah's a hard place to get people to come too. You don't see many free agents going out and signing with the Jazz for, like, look at Gordon Hayward. As soon as he could have got out, he got out. He went as fast as he could to Boston. I mean, it's not really a big market. It's not like LA or Philly where they can go out, throw the money at you, and they're going to attract that kind of talent. And look at the guys, to Bakley's point about throwing money around. I understand the rookie structure, whatever, but like Derek White got a max it's that rookie mid-tier extension, right? Luke Kennard, 4 years, $64 million. OG Anunoby, 4 years, $72 million. Markelle Fultz, I'm happy for him. He kind of struggled when he first came in. Got 2 years, $30 million extension. Jonathan Isaac, who won't even play this year, got 4 years, $80 million. A lot of money. The market is very inflated. By the time LeBron hits the market again, he'll probably make $75 million a year. That's how high the market's going.
Yeah, I agree.
And we knew this was coming with these TV contracts inflating everything, but I'm with you guys though. They had to do it. He's the face of their franchise. Donovan Mitchell is probably their best player, but Gobert's the guy that's been there forever. He's defensive player of the year. Drew, he's finished first or second every year in the last 4 years. So I could, he's in the running for my defensive player of the year. Spoiler alert. He's there every single year. He averages 17, 11, and 3 blocks. And he doesn't miss games. So I don't know what else they could ask the guy to do. Don't blame him for giving him the money, because if they didn't, somebody else would. Now, this is interesting because I don't know if anybody wants this guy anymore. The report is today that James Harden is kind of being a little has some maturity issues in practice right now. He's throwing the ball at rookies, and I think he's trying to get his way out. So, Bakley, you're a Sixers fan, and that's one of the rumored destinations. Is that the best fit for him?
I think he stays. And I don't want him to come to the Sixers because he scores, but to me, he's a liability on the opposite side of the court on the defense. He's going to get you the 30, 40 points a game, but then he averages roughly 7 to 8 turnovers a game. He'll give up 50 points a game compared to the 40. All the teams he's been on with the Hornets, they've struggled defensively, except for when they had Clint Capella at the center position, which they traded him to add scoring on the team last year, and that didn't work out so great when you went up against the Lakers. It didn't matter because the Lakers are stacked on both sides of the ball. They can score and they can defend because they have LeBron and AD. They need to get better defensively, and I kind of feel like the team he has now is probably one of the best teams that he has, as long as Cousins and Wall can stay healthy, because they're good on the defensive side, and those guys they will gel with him, and they won't take away from what he does. Like John Wall will facilitate the ball, he'll get it to Harden, and then they'll try and get the ball in the middle of the Cousins, because Cousins is a great passing center who can also score in the paint. He just needs to stay on the court and not get hurt like he's done ever since he got traded to the Pelicans.
Drew, what do you think the best fit is?
First of all, I disagree with Daniel. Staying is not the best option for him because Houston don't want him, and James Harden don't want to be there. Obviously, if he's throwing balls at rookies and being a constant issue and a distraction to the team, especially with the new head coach in there, they have pieces. I think this team is better than almost last year's team with DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall. I agree with Daniel on that part, but the other part is that James Harden just doesn't want to be in Houston. It's the end of the story. Money's not a factor for him, and as you can tell, you can get the Supermax staying with Houston. And the guy was going to be offered a lot of money, and he turned it down. So if that's the case, Josh, and we're looking at teams, he wants to be traded to a contender. The problem is the contender of those contenders that he listed out there don't need him. Let's just face the facts. He's a solo player. He's a 75 to 80% ISO player. That's why he loved. I can't think of the former head coach in Houston that's now in Indiana, but that's why he loved him so much, because it's all focusing on him, and the focus won't be on him if he goes to Philly, if he goes to Miami, if he goes to Boston, especially if he goes to Brooklyn. That won't fit at all whatsoever. So if you're looking at a standpoint of James Harden, okay, James, well, let's take you to a team where you can excel and be the focal point and where you could be happy. The only team that I see him that he could go and contend is the Toronto Raptors, because they don't have a star. They have a star on the rise in Pascal. But other than that, there's no one else on that team that I really feel that he where he will be like, oh, no, I need to back off. I can't play that way. He can play the way he wants to play. He could do Kawhi Leonard role and take that direction and make Toronto a better team, which he would. He would make that team a lot better. Kyle Lowry is Kyle. He's fading away. And Fred VanVleet just got paid, but he ain't that guy. Let's be real about it. We talked about it before. Fred VanVleet isn't this game-changing point guard that's going to make the Toronto Raptors a number 1, 2, or 3 seed in the East. So if Harden goes over there and plays in Toronto, that team can be dangerous with Harden. Other than that, Josh, all the rumors that have been spread around, it's not happening. Philadelphia is not going to trade Ben Simmons for James Harden. I just don't see it happening. Boston, why would they trade away any of their young pieces for a guy who's 30-something years old that doesn't know how to play defense? Brooklyn, it's not happening. Now, if you want to trade Kyrie Irving for James Harden, then maybe. But that's not going to happen. And they're not going to piss off KD. And so then if you go to Clippers, don't see it happening. Why would they trade that? It's not going to happen. So the Lakers, no way. And then Miami was the only team, Josh and Daniel. Miami's the only team where I could see him go and shine. But once again, this is a team that just came out of the NBA Finals last year that didn't have two of their big dogs in most of the games against the Lakers. Why would they ruin that? They're not going to ruin that. So, no, the best fit for James Harden is Toronto for me.
I could see the Nuggets. I could see them with Jamal Murray. He kind of needs another piece because they have him and then they have like 3, 4 big guys. They can afford to trade 1 or 2 of them and like draft capital to bring him in to be another scorer because they competed with the Lakers. They just didn't have enough firepower to win a couple of those games that they were in. And he could be that guy to where they have enough defense to plug in the score to give them a shot because they went, was it 6 games, 5-6 games with the Lakers, and their defense kept them in all those games. They had
but I disagree because if you're not going to get what you're going to get for Paul George, then what's the point of trading? They're not going to trade any of their players, and I don't see the Nuggets getting rid of 5 first-round picks for James Harden. So I highly doubt that they would trade anybody on their team that has so much value to the Houston Rockets. I don't see it happening.
Well, that's why I said I think he stays, and that's the best fit because you're never going to get his value after the Pelicans deal with Bledsoe, how overinflated that was, and with how the player he is, he's going to demand so much in return that it's either you need him that bad, or you're going to give up so much that unless you win the finals, it'll be a bad trade for you to do it.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that you guys didn't name the team. I think the Bucks should make the move.
No.
The problem is, here's why. So Harden's not going to take the back seat to a guy that he feels he's better than. He knows damn well he's no Greek freak. That's his team. He's locked in. He's signed his max contract. They don't have a ball handler. I know they just got Drew Holiday, but is Drew Holiday going to be what puts them over the edge? Probably not. Is Chris Middleton a better trade asset than Kyle Lowry? I mean, Chris Middleton's not on the decline. And that would be – they'd either have to flip Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton to at least appeal to them. After that, this is where I have the problem. Dante DiVincenzo is like their young prospect they love, but they don't have a lot to give up. So that's why I have to I think he's the best fit with Milwaukee. He can handle the ball, Greek freak can chill underneath. He doesn't have to handle the ball as much. But Toronto seems like the most likely place. They have the assets to trade. You can trade Lowry. If they ask for Siakam, I'm telling them to fuck off. I'm not trading Siakam. The rumor is that Houston would want Siakam. I would not give them Siakam. They've literally took the dude from the G League and developed him. I would not just trade him away.
I think Houston would try to go after OG and then get a few first-round picks and then maybe Lowry on top of that.
If you're Houston, you got to know if you're especially now that we have a new GM because Daryl Morey is over in Philadelphia. You need to know and make at least a semi splash on this trade and get a return for your future. If you can sell to the Houston crowd, look, I just traded James Harden who did not want to be here, and I got 3 or 4 first round picks. I mean, that's what the value you're gonna get because unless you want to wait. Now we could play the waiting game and wait till the trade deadline, which I think most teams will probably do and revisit this conversation around the trade deadline and see where the Houston at because I'm gonna tell you right now, Houston's in a nutshell. It's not Harden and it's not these other NBA teams. It's Houston's in this nutshell because they have no leverage with Harden. Harden has all the leverage right now on this deal. The team he has around him, like I said, very talented. I would argue DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall, who already have instant chemistry as it is, as we're watching the preseason and for the days in college. You add in Harden in here, it's looking pretty dangerous with PJ Tucker, who I think is super underrated in the NBA, and a pretty good bench. This team can be dangerous, but overall, like Daniel said, Toronto has the only assets to make this trade commendable. You know, it's just it is what it is. Will Toronto make that move? Is the question. Will Toronto make that move?
Well, if you want to take a Canadian's expect from it, look how excited Archie gets. Look how excited Archie is of the fact that this is being rumored. You can just tell they got that little flirt with Kawhi, the 1 year of Kawhi. If you can pull Harden up there, get him re-signed, pair him with Siakam, which Harden would definitely be the star. So, like you said earlier, Drew, he wouldn't have to take a back seat. He knows he's the guy who could do his thing. Siakam could do his thing. And Toronto develops young talent very well. I mean, they'll draft somebody at 30, and he'll be an all-star in 2 years. That's what they do. The kid they drafted this year, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they got like a steal with him because he probably should have went earlier, but he is injured. So that's what Toronto does. So going off of last year, so we all know who the crap teams were last year, right? Which team, Drew, do you think is going to make the biggest leap this year?
The Dallas Mavericks. For me, I think that team is just going to be dangerous. They were the 7th seed, I believe. Took the highly favorite LA Clippers to have to win the whole thing to 7 games. I mean, and that was out. That was without Porzingis.
Yep.
So I mean, I like this team a lot. I like the improvements a lot. We'll dive in more to the absolute amazing, talented Luka Doncic, who I drafted first overall in my NBA draft. But overall, man, it's fantasy basketball draft. Sorry. And overall, I like the Dallas Mavericks a lot. I really like their team a lot. I like their makeup. I like who they are, and I really think that they'll make a lot of noise. And I have them probably finishing in the top 5-4 in the Western Conference.
Bakley?
I got the Phoenix Suns. When they started the season out, DeAndre Ayton was suspended for the first, I believe, the 25 games of the season. So he missed a fourth of the season. They were kind of mad going into the bubble, but then they go into the bubble and they went undefeated. Was it 12-0 in the bubble? and they lose out on the playoffs over a tiebreaker with Memphis. And then what do? You go and you add Chris Paul to be your point guard. So now you got Chris Paul, you got Devin Booker, and you got Aiden. You got your center, you got your facilitator in Parr, and then you got your leader scorer in Booker. Booker's just he scores at will. He just isn't great on the defensive side, but that's why you add Chris Paul. He is aging, which has taken a little bit away from him there, but with your scoring, you can rely on him to play a little bit of defense. And I think they jump from the 9-10 seed that they're at now. I could see him jump all the way up to the 5 seed with the bench that they have. Chris
Paul's a perfect fit. They needed a veteran to lead it, and Booker doesn't have to handle the ball. Booker is going to be best coming off screens, hitting threes, because Booker, who I took in the second round of my NBA fantasy basketball draft last night, and score whenever the hell that guy wants to score. It's funny, Drew. I had first overall pick till I took Giannis. It was him and Luka though. I was like, oh my god, which one? But Giannis MVP every damn year apparently. I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks. I think they had the best free agency period. They signed Rajon Rondo to back up Trae Young, so there's some veteran leadership for that young team. The guy, I can't say his name, Bogdan Bogdanovic, the guy that was supposed to go to the Bucks, but it fell through and he ended up in Atlanta. Knockdown shooter, averages about 18 points a game. So there's another shooter to take some pressure off Trae Young. They got Gallinari for the bench. He's actually their sixth man. He's been actually playing really well in preseason coming off the bench. You got Capella at the center, John Collins at the 4. They just exercised the contract options of Huter, Reddish, Deontay Hunter, and Trae Young. So their young core is intact for at least the next couple of years. I think this team could be top 5 in the East. And the East is a hell lot easier than the West is. If Trae Young keeps getting – Trae Young's going to be one of the top 5 point guards here really damn soon, I feel. The dude can just shoot. His defense is a work in progress, which has kind of been the knack on him. With this starting 5 in the Eastern Conference, I mean, they go 9 deep. And then they got Onika Okongwu from USC, who they took in the top 10 in the draft. They're just deep. They literally could go 11 deep. Chris Dunn is their third-string point guard. Like, he played really well for the Bulls last year. They're just super deep. I think Atlanta could be a top 4 seed in the East this year.
When they went to the offseason, they had 2 main points that they wanted to address. Defense at the guard position and then shooting. And that's what they did. They added Bogdan. They added, like you said, Gallinari. And then they added Dunn and Rondo to be behind Trae Young. Trae Young, he's not Luka. He's everything Luka is minus the defense. He doesn't have the defense right now. He did just as good scoring, but when you don't have the defense, he's not that complete player that Luka is right now. And I'm a big fan of his, and I want to see how he does now with this team that he has. They traded for Clint Capella last year. He didn't play 1 game for him because they traded for him when he got hurt, and then they shut him down. Mm-hmm. So I'd be interested to see how they do with all those shooters. You got Capella, who's a very underrated center who defends the paint and then gets the blocks. And then he usually is a legit double-double guy. And you compare him with Collins there, and then you got the shooting. So they should be better. It's just we got to see how they gel together.
Yeah, chemistry is going to be huge between them and Brooklyn are the 2 teams that I expect to lead, but I think Brooklyn's obvious. All right, Drew, which team do you see taking a step backwards this year?
This is tough for me, man, because there's a lot of talent. I'm looking at the playoffs, playoff teams from last year in the 2019-20 season. And the team that I'm looking at the most to take the step back, it's probably going to, for me, I'm between 2 teams. For me, it's probably going to be, I'm just going to stick with it. I'm going to say the Houston Rockets. I just think this team is going to be on the verge of being below the 7th seed, fighting for the 7th or 8th seed. It's just a mess going on over there, and I really like the crew around him. I know the team's better, but I just think with when James Harden does get moved, this team is just going to lose a lot of that firepower. I may be wrong, but I just don't like the makeup of the Houston Rockets. I do like Cousins. I do like John Wall a lot, but coming off of injuries, how long can they play? Can they sustain a full, a season that the NBA is about to encounter? And the whole friction with James Harden, a lot of questions and a lot of answers. So I'm gonna go with Houston Rockets.
I would agree. Bakley?
See, I thought about that, but then they added a very underrated piece in Christian Wood to play power forward. And I think they could finish like at an 8 seed without Harden, whereas like a top 3 or 4 seed with him. But for me, I'm going to go with the obvious and go with the OKC Thunder. They made the playoffs last year, didn't expect it. They just let Paul go, and then they got a whole bunch of draft capital. They're basically going to own the draft the next 3-4 years. And they didn't get much in return. Every guy that they got back, they flipped for somebody else. They do have Dort and Shea Alexander, but they're not going to be enough. I think they're going to go all the way from the 4 or 5 seed they were, and I think they're going to be probably like a 12, 13 seed because they're not going to have enough.
Well, their best player is Al Horford right now, right? Until they flip him. They're going to flip him at some point and get 35 more second-round picks. They have enough – their draft capital, I think they have like 30-something picks over the next like 7 years or something. It's pretty ridiculous. Man, you guys kill me. I think this one's going to hurt. I think the Clippers – I mean, they're not going to be the 2 seed in the West anymore. I think they're going to be like a 7-8. I mean, Denver's not going away. Houston's going to fall. OKC is going to fall. But the Pelicans are coming. The Grizzlies are coming. I think the Blazers are going to make a leap too. They got and Anis Cantor might be the most like underrated move just because he fit there so well. He didn't fit in Boston, but when Cantor was with the Blazers the first time, he made an impact. And Melo just came back, for the veterans minimum. So it's nice to have a guy that can get 20 who seemed to gel really well with that team last year in the mix. But they lost. Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers was the biggest kick in the nuts that you could ever do for the Clippers. And Doc's gone, even though I do like Ty Lue. I just think I was going to take OKC. But the Clippers are probably going to fall from like a 2 to about a 7 or an 8. Dallas is coming, like Drew said. The Jazz, they're always that dark horse, depending on, where they end up seed-wise. Denver, Memphis. The West is just super deep. And Phoenix is coming. And the Clippers are not a young team. They don't have many young players. And now since they're locked into Paul George for the next, 6 years now after giving him that max, Paul George has to put up or shut up. And he's shown last year you can't trust him to do that. So I think the Clippers are I think we get Lakers-Clippers in the first round this year, and the Clippers being an 8. And no, I'm not picking the Clippers to win that. I learned my lesson last year.
I know you did.
I got the Cavs winning the finals, just so you know. Andre Drummond, MVP. Anyway, awards. Most improved players. So they're not in really any specific order, but obviously we'll end with like MVP. Bakley, who do you have for most improved player this year?
I'm going with the guy that I mentioned earlier on Houston, Christian Wood. I think he's the guy that can easily get 18 and 12, 18 11 a game on this roster. And with not knowing how DeMarcus Cousins is going to be, I think that they're going to rely more on Wood and then take their time with Cousins because of his injury history. And then you're going to see Wood get a lot of rebounds, a lot of putbacks. And then like he was good on Detroit. And he was like a 15 and 10 type of guy on Detroit. But now he goes on a team where he has Harden and Wall and Cousins and Tucker and I believe they still have Eric Gordon. I believe they do. And a lot of shooters, so it gives them a lot of chances to get putbacks in the paint. So I see him getting most improved.
Drew?
He took my pick. Christian Wood. I love the fit with the Houston Rockets. But I wrote it down. You know what? I'm gonna raise you one. I'm gonna stay in that state, and I'm gonna go with Derek White. I think Derek White could be huge for the Spurs. Great player, good boards. I think he just got a little hesitant last year with the whole DeMar DeRozan and what they're going to do in the future and this and that. But I think Derek White could bring so much value to the Spurs and see what the future could be like with San Antonio. Let's be honest, guys. San Antonio hasn't been relevant since Tim Duncan retired. So I mean, it's getting to the point where they made that trade for Kawhi and they got DeMar DeRozan, and it hasn't really panned out. LaMarcus Aldridge hasn't panned out. So I mean, they need a spark plug. I think Derek White can bring that. We saw a little bit at the end of the season last year before COVID hit, but I'm really excited to see what Derek White could do.
I'm going to say mine of you guys are going to be like, how the hell does he even fit? But he is the favorite. When I was making my list last night, I was surprised he was like one of the top nominees that I kept finding when I was, Googling Jamal Murray, because he only averaged 18 points a game last year. He averaged over 30 in the bubble. So if this dude goes from 18 to 30, he'll probably win it unanimous, but I'm not going there. I'm sticking with that team, though. Michael Porter Jr. The guy was going to be the number one pick in the NBA draft who didn't get hurt years ago. He was going to be that guy. And what did Denver do? They sit there at 15. They wait. They draft him. They sit on him for a year or two. He averaged 11.5 points and 7 boards in the playoffs. This dude could average 28 and 5 this year, and he definitely win most improved player. He's arguably their second best shoot. Well, Jokic is so damn good, though, dude, because he can shoot from everywhere. He's the third best player, but when Jokic commands a double team and Murray is about to take that step to superstar, it looks like, the way he played in the bubble, he's going to be free most of the time. If he just knocks down shots like he was last year, it's going to be easy. He's young, and this is the first season he's coming in healthy. He's 100% healthy with no minutes restrictions coming into this year, which could be what puts Denver over the top, which is why Denver should wait on James Harden a bit. Because if Porter's that guy, roll with that, because Porter's a guy that Houston's going to want him in that deal. So I go with Michael Porter Jr. I love Derek White. He was third on my list. SJ was number 2.
I'd give him 20 games before Denver decides to put Porter in the starting lineup and then have Millsap come off the bench. Because I think that's why they brought back Millsap, was because they want to give Porter time and see how he does from the beginning of the season, since, like you said, he was hurt. And then I do like Derek White a lot, because they interviewed Popovich about Derek White in the bubble, and he said that in the bubble he decided to unleash the chains from him and let him do his game, and then that's when he improved, and then he averaged like 18 points, 5 assists, and then shot like 35% from the 3 because he allowed him to play his style of game instead of catering to DeMar DeRozan's game.
He should make a jump because, like Drew said, the Spurs don't have much, and he's going to be that main guy, because I think DeRozan's a guy that's going to be in a lot of trade rumors come mid-season. I think he ends up back in Toronto myself, but that's just me. All right, this to me is the hardest one. Rookie of the Year. Bakley, I know you were struggling with this last night.
I was struggling with this, and then I'm going to go Cole Anthony of Orlando, because I feel like he's going to get the most minutes out of all the rookies on that Magic team, especially with Isaac out. They do have Markelle Fultz, but he's going to be more of a facilitator on this team. And Cole Anthony has shot well in the preseason, averaging like 15, 16 points a game. And I just see him having the best chance at doing the most work out of all the rookies that I've seen so far.
For me, it's just I'm looking at 2 guys. It's pretty tough, but I'm going to go with Wiseman, center out of the Golden State Warriors. I think the Warriors offense has to change now that Clay is out again, unfortunately, for another year. And I really think they're going to emphasize the paint a lot more and spread it out. I like Wiseman a lot coming out of college, and I think a lot of people really didn't understand the fit, but I do. I understand the fit a lot when it comes to Warriors. A shooting backcourt with a presence at the paint, and it's not all on Draymond, who's arguably the shortest center of in the league besides PJ Tucker. So Wiseman's going to give him a lot of height. He's going to give him a lot of offensive and defensive rebounds once he's healthy, and I really do believe that he can average 10, 12-2. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I like Wiseman a lot in this offense.
I think that getting him allows him to play the center, and then they can move Draymond to power forward, which it's going to be harder for the power forwards to cover his shooting compared to the centers, and where he can move around. So it's just going to make them better having Draymond at power forward.
Yep.
I'm going Anthony Edwards. D'Angelo's hurt. Russell is going to be out. They don't know how long, but he's probably out for at least a month or so. Malik Beasley got in trouble, so they said he's going to be suspended for Lord only knows how long. So that just freed up about 30 shots a game right there, and I wonder who's going to take them. Anthony Towns will get his. But other than that, what other shooters do they even have? I mean, this team picked first overall outside the lucky lottery ball, they were a bottom 5 team last year. A lot of places have this guy projected almost average 20 points a game based on how many shots they expect him to get in this offense. He's going to start at probably the 3, where they have nobody at all. They have Collier, but they kind of bounced him around, or Culver, whatever his name is, but he kind of played the 2 a lot more last year than they thought he would. And I think he's one of those guys, because he played at Georgia, and I'm a UK fan. So every time he didn't play particularly well at Georgia, and there was the bigger the game, the smaller he got. So I think he's going to come to this year with a chip on his shoulder, because there's so many questions about him coming into the draft, whether him or Melo is going to go first overall. So I think just based off stats, he'll have the most points a game. He'll take a shit ton of shots. And stats normally win this award, and I think he'll win this award. I hope Drew's right, though. I hope the center position is not dying. And I think Wiseman could be a really interesting fit for Golden State, judging by the fact that the best team in the West has Anthony Davis, and you need somebody to combat him, which is why if the Jazz ever made the Western Conference Finals, I think they'd be dangerous, because Gobert would have the best opportunity to contain Anthony Davis. Nobody's going to shut him down, but at least Gobert could contain him a little bit. But I got Edwards just based off he's going to score a shit ton of points.
I just don't know how he's going to be, considering he's not going to start right away. They put out the depth chart, and he's the 6th man right now, because they have Carver at, I think, shooting guard, and then they have Lehman at small forward. And to me, it's like, if they're going to draft the guy first overall, and he's going to play, why not start him right away?
I have no idea how Lehman is starting over this guy. My guess is that won't last very long.
It probably less 10, 15 games.
Well, just think, yesterday I was reading an article about Wiseman, and Steve Kerr was like, I think he's starting tomorrow. We'll see. And now he is. So it changes. Coach of the year. So this award obviously goes to teams that either make that leap or just kind of go from worst to kind of respectable. So, Drew, who would be your coach of the year this year?
This is the most easiest award of all the awards to guess. Steve Nash, Nets. They're going to make the biggest leap. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to do the earlier category. What team's going to make the biggest leap? What you asked, because obviously it's going to be the Nets. So I try to be out of the box a little bit, but it's obviously the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, Kyrie Irving and KD. KD looks like he never tore his Achilles in the preseason. I don't know if you guys have been watching and catching up on him, but I've been really particularly interested in watching him, how he plays and how the Nets are playing. You can see that he's taken a lot of the lessons from when he played at Golden State, and he's emphasizing in using that for Brooklyn. And we're going to see KD on a tear this year, and he's going to prove to the world why he has a name and a stake into the greatest player right now. It's going to be fun watching him healthy. I pray to God that he stays healthy, because a healthy KD is a better NBA for each and every person, and more competition for the Lakers, because people are going to be nagging on the Lakers. They won a championship in a bubble where LeBron and AD got 3 months off. So, this season is going to be really interesting to see what the Nets will do. They're probably my most interested team to watch, and I can't wait to see what this team can do. But Steve Nash, I think was a brilliant hire. I love it, and I really do think that he's going to bring the best out of these guys as a former player, and now just his leadership. His leadership intangibles are unquestionable. I mean, in the Phoenix Suns, and when he got traded to the LA Lakers, and he didn't play that much, Kobe even got on record as saying how he had to take notes from Steve Nash and his leadership skills. So I really do think that Steve Nash has this shoe in like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I
I've got Steve Nash as well, so I'm not going to add much to what Drew just said.
I think him putting his coaching staff together was perfect. He brought in Mike D'Antoni, a guy that he played under. He kind of building his game plan around, and then he brought in Amari Stoudemire, another guy from that offense.
Pick and roll
To work with guys. And I think a guy that's going to benefit the most out of that team is Joe Harris, because he's a great three-point shooter, and teams are going to worry about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and that's going to leave wide-open shots for Joe Harris to shoot, which he already won the three-point competition, and then he already was one of the best percentage-wise shooters from behind the arc. This is just going to make it easier for him. And then they got the two centers. I don't think that he's going to have to do too much coaching, in my opinion, to make them any better. But the guy that I think, to me, has a great chance to win Coach of the Year, Stan Van Gundy with the Pelicans. They were a great team scoring-wise, and then they didn't have their star player, of course, for most of the season. Now he's got him healthy from the start, and then he's going to import defense. He's always been good with teams with building their defense up, but he already has the scoring, so he doesn't have to find guys because they're already going to be there scoring. And I think he's going to make them jump from that fringe playoff team to a top 4 team in the East.
I can see that they're going to be in the playoffs this year. They're going to be a top 6 seed in the West for sure, barring injury, because they're just loaded with good young talent. Defensive Player of the Year, Drew.
The easy answer would be Rudy Gobert or Anthony Davis. I'm looking around and I see, some health. I see a lot of players healthy this year. I'm going to go out. I'm going to shoot outside the dark. I really think this is going to be a revenge year for this player. And I think he's going to put his foot down on the ground and become the defensive player of the year again in his career. I believe he's won it before. I got to double check. I'm going to go with Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green is going to win defensive player of the year this year. If all things that I am predicting for the Warriors is if he gets moved to the power forward position, that's going to open so many windows for him in gameplay and how he wants to play and how he needs to play. Rebounds should be no problem for him. I've been catching up and reading up on him and reading up his preseason repertoire, and Kerr's been on record saying that he's back to the old Draymond, healthy. He has no issues. I mean, there was a scare a couple years ago, Daniel and Josh, if you guys remember, they thought he was going to retire because of just the injuries. And I think the year off, pretty much, we could say he pretty much got a mental break and a physical break last year. I think it rejuvenated him a lot to become the player that he wants to become, which was before. So I got Draymond, man. I really think Draymond is going to really shock the world, and because he's got a second career in him, guys. If you guys haven't been really paying attention, TNT inside the NBA has been really, really wanting Draymond to come to the broadcast booth and be a part of that team. So expect that to happen in 2 to 3 years. I don't see Draymond playing long, but I think Draymond is going to be a beast this year.
I got Kevin Durant. Kind of what Drew said. He's going to come out being like, I'm the guy. And I think people think of Kevin Durant, they think he can score. Well, yeah, but he also is one of the best defenders in the league. And I think Giannis is the favorite, like by a lot, right? But at some point, the voters are going to get sick of voting for the same damn guy. Like last year, he won Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. That's not going to happen again, I don't think. I mean, Anthony Davis, like Drew said, Gobert. But I like Kevin Durant. Even Damian Lillard, I think Damian Lillard is going to he's already been great. I think he's about to erupt this year, but we'll get to him later. I got Kevin Durant. Brooklyn, like Drew said, also, they're going to blow up. They're going to be a top 3 team in the East. Durant's going to get a ton of credit for that. He's going to be matched up. He's playing the 4 this year. So he's not playing the 3 because they're starting Joe Harris at the 3, it looks like, at least from the get-go. and they're bringing LeVert off the bench, which Brooklyn's so damn good. They don't need James Harden. They're so deep and talented already. This team, we'll get to the finals predictions later, but I'm going KD.
This was tough for me. I could go with the usual suspects, but I'm going to go outside the box, and I'm going to go with Clint Capella. I think he'll take the next step. He's always up there, top 5 in blocks, top 5 in defensive rebounds, but then a sneaky position that he's really good at the big man position is steals. He always averages 1 to 2 steals a game. You put him on the Atlanta Hawks where he'll get a little bit more looks. He has shooters around him, and then Trae Young, so that he's not going to be fighting for all those rebounds. It's going to be mostly on him, and then he's going to be the defensive presence there. I just have to see how he is health-wise coming back from that injury that he missed half of last season was. But he's the guy that made the difference on Houston was because of that. That's why they came to me. They did have Paul and Harden the year that they were 1 game away from the finals, but the unsung hero on the team that year was Clint Capella and his presence in the paint during that playoff run. And I feel like he could be a dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year.
See that. Here's the one. MVP, Bakley. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Luka. I know Drew is probably going to go for that too, but the way he played in the bubble and then the playoffs last year, he's going to be a main guy. He's going to shoot. He facilitates the ball. They added Josh Richardson to that team to go with him, Porzingis, and Hardaway Jr. And he's going to facilitate, and then he rebounds. He's a sneaky guy when it comes to rebound. You wouldn't expect him to average 9, 10 rebounds a game with how he plays. But I think he's going to take a next step there, and they're going to be a lot better team with this lineup that they have this year compared to last year. And the main guy on that team is him. That's without question.
Drew, is that who you had?
No.
All right.
For me, I had Luka until a couple weeks ago. And a couple weeks ago, I changed my mind. And the reason why I changed my mind is to see how good of a player KD was still, and he's still a beast. KD is going to be my MVP this year. I believe that he is going to tear up the league, and I believe that he is going to – his pride is hurt. If you guys look at his tweets and look how he is and look how he talks, there's a bird on his back. And I say bird because there's people chirping in his ear telling him that he's not the player he used to be, and he's not going to be a force to be reckoned with, and people are still calling him a bitch because of the move he made to go to Golden State. This and that. I'm telling you right now, man, this guy's got fire in his belly and in his eyes, and I expect him to average over 32 a game. I think that's a tall task to order for someone who's coming off Achilles injury, but if anybody who could do it, it's him. I'd rather take a 75% KD than 100% Luka. That's how I feel about it. I love KD a lot. I think he's going to be a great player for Brooklyn, and I really think that the benefit of him is he's what LeBron used to be back then in the position of being in the Eastern Conference, where he doesn't have to worry about majority of teams that are, potential NBA contenders as he did when he was with the Thunder in the West. Now he gets to coast. I'm telling you right now, he's going to coast the postseason, and it's not going to take a lot of athletic ability for him to shoot. I mean, he has a 7 foot something wingspan, and the man doesn't need to be athletic to do a jump shot. We saw what happened to Kobe when Kobe came back. It took everything out of him to do a stop, cut, jump shot. He couldn't slam dunk anymore. This dude, KD, can just stop and just put his hands up and make a shot. And that's what he's been practicing on, apparently, focusing a lot of using his left foot, kind of like Dirk Nowitzki did his fadeaway on 1 foot jump shot. I guess apparently KD's been working on that a lot. And I like his whole repertoire, his weapons. Like you said, Josh, Defensive Player of the Year, a potential award winner. He's a rebounder. He loves being in the paint. That's what I'm saying. The Golden State, things that he's learned from Golden State, he's going to input this into Brooklyn and in his game and for his teammates. And I really do see KD winning MVP this year.
It'd be nice to see him. The NBA needs a good KD. A KD, the LeBron KD in the finals would be sick.
Oh, and Kyrie Irving. Oh my God,
bad blood there. I'm going Lillard. I think Lillard is about to erupt this year. I think he could average 35, 36. McCollum. They added Derek Jones Jr., Robert Covington. Nurkic is finally healthy. Melo's looks like they're six-man. Cantor, Rodney Hood, Gary Trent Jr., who played a lot down the stretch last year. And this team goes 11 deep, and you're not just going to be able to focus on Lillard anymore. And I think this dude's about to go off. Lillard feels like the Dan Marino of the NBA. I feel like he's never going to win a damn championship, but he's always going to be – he's going to go down as one of the better point guards to ever – he's probably going to go down as one of the best point guards to never win a championship. So I almost feel like it's some kind of lifetime achievement award that he should win this award at some point just because he won't win anything else championship-wise. But I think Portland could be a top three. They will be a top three seed in the West this year. That's my bold prediction for Portland this year. And I think he's obviously going to be the reason why, as long as McCollum does not get hurt, and Jerkic is hurt every damn year, it seems like, or he's sick or something. If they can stay healthy, Portland's going to be a top three seed in the West, and then they're going to give that credit, rightfully so, to Lillard, which will put him right at the MVP race. I feel like the LeBron, AD, Giannis, they've won their awards, man. Like, you can't just keep giving them to the same people. You could, but like voters.
Not AD. AD has the one.
He was two, because I think he's one of the best, if not the best player in the league right now. He's way up there.
The days of LeBron winning MVP is over. Last year was his best year and his only year to win it, and rightfully he didn't deserve it. It belonged to Giannis because of his amazing year that he had back-to-back years. But I'm telling you right now, LeBron's time as MVP is over. That doesn't mean that it's not over for him as the greatest player in the NBA, but he's always going to win the finals. It's just might as well just make the awards name after LeBron. I mean, if it's getting to the point where he wins another one, it's going to be what? Is that 5? That'll be 5. So I mean, he's one away from Mike. I mean, if we'll get into it later. We'll get into it later.
All right. Well, let's get into the Western Conference. So, Drew, we'll start with you. Who do you have making? So last year we went like round versus round. I feel like that's not really. There's no reason to get that deep. So who are your 8 teams you have getting in? And do you have a sleeper that can make a run in the West? Obviously, I feel like I know where you're going with your number 1, but is there somebody that could sneak in on the Western Conference side and make some noise?
All right, yeah. Number 1 is going to be Lakers. I got the Lakers at 1. 2 is going to be the Denver Nuggets. I got 3 is going to be the Utah Jazz. 4 will be the Trailblazers. I love the addition of Cantor. I think that gives them so much size, what they've been lacking on. They do need one more wing player, though. They need another shooter because CJ ain't the answer, and I do love the way Carmelo. Have you guys seen how Carmelo's been playing? Woo! Trailblazers is scaring me a little bit. 5 will be the Mavericks. 6 will be the Phoenix Suns, and that will be my sleeper team. Now, I know people are really high on them, but I still have them as a sleeper because I think they can go probably top 4 in the Western Conference. So I like Ayton. I love Chris Paul. Ayton could also probably be our most improved player because of him missing, like Daniel said earlier, missing all those games, those 25 games. So I really think that he can improve on that. And then my 7th seed would probably be I'm not ready. I think my 8th seed would be the Rockets, and my 7th seed will be the – man, it could be whatever. It doesn't matter who's in it. I mean, I'm trying to think of one more team. I'll keep it as that. I'll give you another answer or a little bit later, but for now, those are my definitely 7 teams that are in.
All right, Bakley, Western Conference.
I got the Lakers. I got the Nuggets. I got the Suns. I got the Blazers, the Mavericks. I got the Pelicans. I think that's 6. I got the Clippers. And then it's a toss-up with the last one, but I'm going to go the Rockets.
You're taking the Jazz out?
No, I had the Jazz 4.
Oh, I didn't hear him. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jazz versus Lakers in the second round would be really, really nice to see. Assuming Conley's actually healthy this year.
And I think the Pelicans could make a sneaky run, depending on how they do in the regular season. Because I really like Zion.
Yeah, I think Pelicans would be my pick too.
All right, so Lakers, Blazers, Nuggets, Mavs, Pelicans at 5. I'll go Clippers at 6. They'll fall off, but they won't fall all the way down to 8. Grizzlies at 7. No, sorry, Suns at 7, Grizzlies at 8. I think they won it last year, and I think the Grizzlies are going to continue to improve. They're kind of getting lost in the shuffle, but they're still a young team. Morant balled out last year. Brandon Clark was like a great find for them. I think they'll take another step. And, I mean, obviously OKC's taking that plunge, but my sleeper, I don't know if I could call the Blazers a sleeper. I don't really have a sleeper unless you count the Blazers. But I think they're not creeping up on anybody. I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of them. So I don't really have one in the West. I mean, the Pelicans could make a run. Grizzlies could steal a series, but if they're coming in on the 8, they're not beating the Lakers. So I don't really have one. I guess the Clippers could make a run. They could beat the 3-seeded Mavs, but they probably wouldn't do that either. So we'll see. Here's the fun one because I feel like any team in the East can make the playoffs from like 6 to 8. Like I feel like the Knicks might be. We'll get there. Bakley, who you got making the playoffs in the East?
See, this was easier for me because I feel like there's only one team that had fall out and one team that would move up, and then another team that could contend. But I got the Nets at the 1. I got the Bucks at the 2. I got the Sixers at the 3. I got this is the hard one. I got the Pacers at the 4, the Celtics at the 5, and then I got the Raptors at the 6, and then 7 and 8 I had the Wizards, and then you see. Now you know what? I got the Heat, then Wizards, and then the 8.
7?
Huh?
The Heat are coming in at 7. Butler's going to be pissed if he falls that fucking far down.
I got 6.
6? Okay.
I got him at the 6. And then 8, I have it's like a toss-up.
I can't believe Orlando snuck in at the 8 last year.
Well, and then I'm going to go with the Hawks.
Drew?
For me, it's going to be Brooklyn at 1. I'm going to put Boston at 2. And then I'm going to put Milwaukee at 3. I'm sorry. My bad. I'm going to put Milwaukee at 2, but Boston at 3. And then for my 4th seed, I got Miami. And then my 5th seed, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. At the 6th seed, I got the Toronto Raptors. At the 7th seed, this is also before James Harden doesn't go there. So if James Harden goes there, then I'm changing it up. The 7th seed, I got the Atlanta Hawks. And then the 8th seed, I got this is tough. It's definitely not going to be the Cavs, so don't worry about that. I'm in between Indiana. I'm in between Washington. And I'm in between Orlando. These are 3 teams I'm looking at. And if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with Indiana as my 8th seed.
All right. TJ Warren balled out in the bubble. and it's his team now, right? I mean, Oladipo. I feel like it's T.J. Warren's team now.
It's Sabonis' team. I think he's the best player on that team.
He might be the best shooter. That's a very underrated team that they have down in Indiana. They always do have a good team. They used to always run into LeBron every year. So that would be what the season ended.
And then they didn't even have Sabonis in the bubble or the playoffs. I think he played 2 games and then he was out.
Well, that probably helped. T.J. Warren scored 55 a game. Randy, let's go Celtics. We'll see. It'd be interesting with Hayward leaving, but granted, he missed 90% of the games last 3 years anyway. I'm sticking with Milwaukee at 1. I don't know who the hell scores on him outside of Brooklyn in the East. Drew Holiday is like a huge upgrade. I don't even remember who the hell they're to. Eric Bledsoe. Drew Holiday's such a big upgrade defensively, and Drew Holiday's a huge upgrade of Eric Bledsoe. So I still got them at 1. They'll win. How many games are they playing? They playing a full season?
I think I'm playing 72.
So they'll win 6. They'll go 56-16 and lose in the first round like they always do. It's fine, but they'll still get the 1 seed. Brooklyn at 2, Philly at 3. I got Atlanta jumping all the way to 4. That's my sleeper. That's my jump. But I got the Heat at 5. That'll be a fun series. Boston at 6. Who am I forgetting? Toronto at 7. Like Drew said, James Harden. And the Wizards at 8. Wizards will be the team that knocks out the Bucks because they got, Bill and freaking Westbrook out there, and the Bucks and Giannis is going to be like, "What the hell do I got to do?"
Yeah,
I don't trust the Bucks. The Bucks are like, we're not going to get into the NFL, but the Bucks remind me of some team in Buffalo that always gets to the playoffs, but they don't win. So until I see them win, they need to. All right, Drew, who's your Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals this year?
For me, I'm going to start at the Eastern because it's easier. I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets, and if it works out right, I get the Miami Heat. I think those two will be my Eastern Conference finals. And am I supposed to pick a winner between those two?
Yeah.
For me, it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets. I got the Nets going back. Nets going to the NBA Finals, and then for the Western Conference, definitely my Lakers. They've improved from last year. I love their team so much right now. I'm such a fan, just a little bit. And the only person
just add 5 new players after winning the top. I'm
such crying. So with that being said, the only player that I really, really think that's going to hamper them a lot that they're not going to have back is Rondo, just because of postseason experience, and he is such a clutch player when it comes to the defensive and offensive side. Great intangibles, and it's hard to replace that. You can't teach intangibles, man. So it's going to be really tough to see Rondo on Atlanta. But I got the Lakers, and then for the other Western Conference team, I'm gonna go as I think they'll pull it out. I'm gonna go with the Clippers. I just think the Clippers are gonna figure it out. They'll meet up in the conference finals, and we'll finally get what we were supposed to get last year, and then the Lakers can finally shut their mouths up. But I got the Lakers winning and moving on. It's gonna be the Lakers and the Nets in the finals.
NBA would love that. That would be like the Bucks playing the Chiefs in this year's Super Bowl. It's like that's what the NFL wants. I'll take the dream matchup.
Not the Bucks. No.
The Bucks are who the NBA or the NFL wants. They want Brady and Mahomes. People suck that right up. I don't, but that's what the NFL wants. Bakley.
In the East, I got of course, the Nets, and then I got the Sixers. I got them. I feel like
Homer.
Hey, you can call me Homer.
You got a point guard who can't shoot.
He doesn't need to shoot.
Yeah, he does.
I've watched them in the preseason, and they've looked like a different team. They've added shooters.
Of course.
I really like Dwight Howard as the backup center. He's done a good job with that. They've added defense to the team. And then I really love Tyrone Maxey, the rookie that they brought in. I thought he should have been.
He's nice.
I actually agree with Josh here. I thought he should have been top 10, top 15 pick.
He was the best value pick of this draft.
I agree.
He can shoot, and March Madness fucked him all up. He would have been a top 10 pick if there was March Madness. He was trending the right way, how Cal's dudes always do, except for this year because they're 1-6. But he was going to be a top 10 guy. You guys might have landed your guy to be able to trade Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and we won't play him crazy minutes. Like in the preseason, he's coming in the second half, played half of the second half, and he shot well. I think in his first game, he was 4 for 5 with 2 threes. He had 2 steals and a block. I had some guy say that he looks like a bust, and I'm like, the dude's played 1 game and he only missed 1 shot, and you're calling him a bust already? I'm like, but I feel like with that, and then having Doc Rivers there to coach the team, that they'll be better than they were last year, which they made it, but then they didn't have Ben Simmons there. I feel like Daryl Morey's going to expect more out of Ben Simmons, and we're not going to just have the owner not talk and then not say anything to the players. I think Morey's going to talk to Simmons and be like, you need to shoot more, you need to step up, you're one of the team leaders now, or need to be a team leader now, and I feel like he will. He will step up, and I feel like that. I have him over the Bucks. I like the Bucks, but just like you said, they always get to a certain point, and then they always lose because teams let Giannis in the playoffs play a certain game, and then they make him shoot from the outside, which he struggles from. And I feel like the Sixers always played Milwaukee well, and now it's a 2-3 matchup for me. But I had the Nets win the East, and I don't know the West. The West was easy. I had the Lakers, and it doesn't matter who else goes. I think it's going to be the Nuggets, and then I got the Lakers and the Nets in the finals.
West pretty easy too. I got Lakers, Blazers, 1 versus 2.
Oh
they
my
God! Oh my God! Would you be surprised if it's Lakers, Blazers in the finals?
Yes.
Why?
You mean why?
The Blazers are loaded.
Yeah, they're a loaded team. That doesn't mean that they're going to get to the final. I mean, get to the Western Conference Finals.
They will. I mean, they'll get swept, but they'll get there.
Clippers have such. You still got to respect postseason experience, which they clearly have, and I think Tyronn Lue being there is a better option than Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers' daughter dated Paul George. Like, let's get that through people's heads. You know how freaking awkward that must have been during the freaking meetings and every day noticing that? Like, come on, man. That's just awkward. Kawhi Leonard had no offense whatsoever. That's why they're implementing the triangle, because he wants more of a whatever he said, the offensive strategy to implement for this team. This team underperformed like no other. We're not going to see that again. I'm telling you right now, Clippers are going to be pretty dangerous as the year goes on.
Hey, speaking of, your boys got 10 points in 4.5 minutes already. Durant, 5 of 6 from the field, 10 points. Brooklyn's up 18-8 already. Durant just dunked on Wiseman. Sorry, rookie. Welcome to NBA. But,
I'm going to change my rookie pick.
Dude, I'm picking – dude, Durant's going to go off. All right, so on that note, Nets, Heat is my Eastern Conference Finals. I got it. He got too much shooting, dude. I think Tyler Hero's about to be legit as hell, too.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Kentucky can't win shit in college, but, man, can they shoot when they get to the damn league. Look at Quickly out on the Knicks right now shooting lights out in preseason, too.
He's Reggie Miller. He's Reggie Miller.
And you got Duncan out there, Duncan Robinson out there, too. Bam, another Kentucky guy out there. Just got his max contract. And Butler's happy. Bakley knows how an irritated Butler behaves from his days in Philly. Butler's happy. Dragic is healthy. He got re-signed. He got paid. He's happy to be there. They should be good to go. And then them in the net, and then the Lakers. And I already had the Lakers. And I got the Nets, Lakers, just like Drew does. That's what it's going to be.
We all do.
So, NBA Finals winner and MVP, Drew.
I want to go last.
All right. I'll go first. Even though I don't know what the hell the NBL is. Oh, let's fix that. There we go. The NBA Finals winner MVP. I got Brooklyn. I think this is the year of Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is going to go off. And yes, the Lakers got better, Drew, but Brooklyn is the only team that can probably match up with them everywhere. They got a 6-man. They got size. LeVert's going to be in this. I didn't put 6-man of the year because I feel like that's one we could have predicted, but I just didn't want to waste time on that one. But LeVert's probably going to be one of the top runners in 6-man of the year. Dude averaged over 25 with Durant and Kyrie out. He kind of took over that team. Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, the two-headed monster at center, Jordan Allen. Depends on what matchup they're in. They're going to play one of those two guys. You got to, like you said, Drew, Durant's going to be playing with a purpose this year. He's sick of hearing the shit. Kyrie, too. Kyrie missed all of last year. And you think of Kyrie.
He misses every year.
But you think Kyrie, the Lakers, with all this shit with LeBron, it's going to be a great 7-game series. I just got Brooklyn winning in 7. And KD's going to get MVP. But Kyrie will hit the game-winning shot just like LeBron did, and then KD will get MVP, though. All right, Bakley.
I got the Lakers in 6, and I got Anthony Davis as the MVP.
All right.
That was original. Okay, I got the Lakers in 7, and for MVP, it's going to be LeBron. And the reason why I have the Lakers winning this one in 7 because, like you said, Josh, the Nets are loaded, and I don't know who's going to guard Kyrie. I'm looking at the defense of the Lakers. I know they got a couple of point guards that could probably live up to the task, but I also could look at I could flip it, and I could see KD could be on LeBron, but ain't no way in God's green earth ain't no one going to stop Anthony Davis, whoever's on the Nets. I don't care who you're going to say. So with that being said, I think the X factor is going to be Anthony Davis as it was his past postseason. Can he step up when he needs to step up? He's going to step up, but LeBron's going to carry the torch, and he's going to win another championship. He's going to win another finals, and that's just going to put more cement into the argument for GOAT, because 5 championships is hard to argue to somebody, and making it to the finals. What is this now? 14, if he makes it this year, it's 14 out of, or like 13 or 14 out of the last 15 years, Bakley. I mean, he made it to 11 straight in the Eastern Conference before he went to the Lakers 2 years ago, and they missed it. Made it last year. He makes it this year. I think that's 13 in the last 14 years. That's ungodly. So if that happens, man, this GOAT debate is gonna get diminished even more with MJ and LeBron.
I can't deal with Krogan if he wins another one.
I don't even think he's going to have to carry all that workload. I think his workload is going to go down this year.
Yes.
So I think they might move him out of the point guard spot, and they put Dennis Schroeder there, and then just have him. He might just average 20 points a game, which is crazy,
fine.
Which is crazy for him, but that's what you want. You want him to average 20. Davis have more of the workload. You got Schroeder who can shoot. You got Montrezl Harrell who either can start or come off the bench. You got guys that can take some of the burden off of him, and he can just coast. Just like you said with Durant being in the East, LeBron can coast on that team even in the West because they're stacked.
Yeah, definitely.
Kyrie just hit a 3. It's 23-9. Brooklyn already looks like a well-oiled machine, and Steph Curry's already pissed and sitting on the bench. It's going to be an interesting year. Golden State is going to be a team. Nobody had them in the playoffs.
Nope.
That's weird.
They lost Clay.
But still, with Wiggins and
Still
Wiseman.
what?
Yeah, you had Draymond winning Defensive Player of the Year, and then you got Wiggins and you got Wiseman. They're not god awful. I just find it interesting that they didn't even sneak in like the 8th seed.
Clay
In the Eastern Conference, it would be 5.
That's true. That'd be 5, and they'd lose to the Hawks.
Clay would allow Curry to shoot better because you got to worry about both guys shooting from wherever. Now you can focus more on Curry shooting because who else are you going to really worry about shooting on the Warriors?
Yep.
That's true.
They look. Listen, real quick before we end. They're the team that's going to be the most interesting next year. So many free agents are coming off. They got more money off the books. It's going to be really interesting what they're going to do and see how they're going to how they're going to approach their team because Clay's going to be back next year. Clay's on the max deal. Steph is on the max deal. And I don't know what Draymond's contract status is at, but they got Wiseman. They go for another rookie next year because their team is not going to be that good this year. And they go for that top free agent. They need another KD. I'm not saying that KD's out there, but they need another player at that stature to make this offense flow like it used to. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Next year they'll be okay.
Joe Harris just knocked a three. It's 26. Now it's 26-14 because Steph just went out and nailed three. It's going to be a fun night. Two great games. Lakers and Clippers are the 10 o'clock game tonight too, aren't they?
Yep.
7.
7 for you. I wish it was 7 for me. I won't be able to watch. Speaking of Wicked Christmas, we still got some shows. This is our weekly lineup. Thursday and Friday might be a little bit altered. We're not going to have any shows Thursday or Friday due to the Christmas holiday. We'll check out our lineup of great live shows right here at the Buzz.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by your locksmith. On the block throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look with the top dish. Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot, swish. Tell them that's what we ready for. Tell them that's what we ready for.
Yes, sir. Loaded weekly lineup. Your boy just slammed it down Wiseman. Can't even pay attention to the dance. Too much stuff going on. Bakley, you got any parting words before we say goodbye?
Just wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and then I hope everybody enjoys the holiday. And that's it.
Drew?
Philadelphia 76ers suck. Everybody have a good good Christmas. And I'm going to see you tomorrow night. Game winning drives tomorrow night, and we're going to talk about football, and we're going to talk about this upcoming week and getting ready for playoffs, man. We got a big playoff show lining up the wild card weekend. So I think it's like 3 weeks? 3 weeks from Monday.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about who we think is going to win. We're going to combine the sports box guys. They're going to come on our show, and we're going to dive in and see who's going to prevail and who's going to win and who's going to come out as a champion this year. So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a really awesome show to have that in about 3 weeks.
Yep, playoffs is coming soon. But yeah, kind of what Bakley said. Well, show-wise, catch me literally in a half hour. That Arena Rock Show, the podcast, is debut on the Buzz Network. We're doing Van Halen 1984 versus the Van Halen self-titled album, Album Mania head-to-head. Loaded. The Arena Rock is Van Halen.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No.
You know, Jump, Panama, all that shit. I know what I studied. I had to study for this one, all right? Catch us right at 8 o'clock right here on the Buzz. We'll be going live. Tomorrow, Working Fans, RSH and Working Fans are doing a collabo. So Working Fans is going to join RSH. We're going to break down TLC from Sunday. Since, with the holiday, RSH had a move we didn't want to cancel, so we just collaborated. And then, it's been a crazy 2020. I mean, I'm blessed to have the Buzz. I mean, it's one of the things we were on lockdown earlier this year, had something to do, work on podcasting, writing. Thanks to all the people behind the scenes at the Buzz that make things click. YouTube, Prince, Archie, everybody. Buzz is coming, dude. We just are just getting started. 2021, we're about to blow up. So have a good Christmas. Be safe. Wear a mask. Enjoy time with your family. And let's have a better 2021. I'll see you guys in about a half hour. Drew will see you tomorrow. And Bakley, we'll see you soon. I think you're off the rest of the week.
Sunday.
We'll see you Sunday. You'll see me and Drew Sunday for our Blitz finale to play fantasy football championship week. So we'll see you guys then. Be safe. Have a good night.